My name is Meera, and I live in a small village in India. For most of my life, I only spoke Hindi. But deep in my heart, I had a big dream. To work in a big company and travel the world. I knew I needed English to do that. One day, I saw a woman on YouTube speaking fluent English. She looked confident, strong, and smart. I wanted to be like her. That night, I wrote a goal on a piece of paper. I will speak English in 5 months. I stuck it on my wall. I didn't have money for English classes. But I had a phone, internet, and strong willpower. My parents were surprised but supported me. My uncle laughed and said, "English is not for us." But I didn't listen. I believed in myself. That was the first step of my journey. I began with the alphabet. Yes. I knew it already. But I wanted to get every sound right. I used a free app called Duolingo. It made learning fun. Every day, I practiced for 30 minutes. I also found English videos for beginners on YouTube. They told simple stories slowly. And I repeated each line after them. I spoke out loud. Even when I was alone. At first, it felt strange. I made many mistakes. But I didn't stop. I listened to English music and watched cartoons in English. I made a word wall in my room and stuck new words on it daily. I was learning like a child. But that's okay. Slowly, I started to understand simple sentences. My confidence grew. Learning was hard. But I was excited. For the first time, English didn't scare me. It excited me. Success needs routine. I woke up at 6 a.m. and spent the first hour with English. I watched one English video. Repeated the words. And practiced speaking. I even talked to myself in the mirror. In the evening, I wrote 5 sentences in a small diary. It wasn't perfect, but I tried. I started reading simple English storybooks meant for children. The Fox and the Grapes was my first. Every unknown word. I searched on Google Translate. I began to think in English. I would look at an object and say, "That is a chair." Or, "The sun is bright." It became a game. I also joined an English learners group on Facebook. There, I shared my progress. Other learners encouraged me. I was not alone in this journey. With a set routine, my skills improved every day. I realized discipline was the real secret. One day, I discovered something powerful. Listening. I started listening to English podcasts for beginners. At first, I didn't understand everything. But I kept going. I listened while cooking, cleaning, and walking. My brain slowly got used to the rhythm and sounds of English. I used a trick. I listened to the same audio again and again. After 5 times, I could repeat many sentences. I also watched English movies with subtitles. First with both English and Hindi subtitles. Then only English. And finally no subtitles. My ears became sharper. I started to catch common phrases like, "How are you?" Or, "I see." This helped me speak better. Listening became my teacher. I learned pronunciation, grammar, and vocabulary without stress. I realized that babies learn by listening first, not reading grammar books. So, I listened like a baby. And slowly, my English brain woke up. After 3 months, something amazing happened. I had my first English conversation with a tourist in our village. He was lost and asked for directions. My heart raced. But I said, "Yes. I help you." He smiled. I told him, "Go straight and turn left." He understood. That small success gave me a big boost. I shared it on Facebook, and my friends cheered. My teacher in school heard about it and asked me to speak during morning assembly. I was nervous but proud. I prepared my short speech. I said, "Hello, everyone. My name is Meera. I learn English every day. I want to speak well. Thank you." Everyone clapped. That day, I felt unstoppable. I realized that courage grows when we try. Even if we are not perfect. Speaking is the best practice. That first conversation became a turning point in my journey. I made many mistakes. I once said, "I am go market." And my cousin laughed at me. I felt embarrassed. But I didn't give up. I wrote down my mistake and corrected it. "I am going to the market," I told myself. Mistakes mean learning. I stopped being afraid of speaking wrong. I read somewhere, fluency comes from failure. So I failed proudly. I even recorded my voice while speaking English. At first, I sounded strange. But day by day, it got better. I noticed my pronunciation improving. I used Google to check grammar when in doubt. Some people teased me, saying, "Why are you acting foreign?" But I smiled. I was not acting. I was growing. Every mistake became my stepping stone. English was not a subject now. It was my friend. And friends forgive your mistakes. One of my favorite habits was reading English stories every night. I started with picture books and moved to graded readers. I found The Secret Garden and loved it. I read one page each night, writing new words in my notebook. I use the dictionary app to understand them. I didn't try to understand every word. I focused on the story. My imagination grew. And so did my vocabulary. Reading also improved my writing. I started using phrases like, "It was a beautiful day," or "Suddenly she heard a sound." I used these in my diary. Stories gave me new words, sentence patterns, and ideas. I even started dreaming in English sometimes. Reading was slow, but it worked. I stopped using translation apps and began thinking directly in English. That was a magical moment. I felt like I was becoming someone new. At first, grammar scared me. Tenses, prepositions, articles, I didn't understand them. But I found a new way. Learning grammar naturally. Instead of memorizing rules, I noticed how people used English. For example, I heard, "I have eaten," and understood it meant the action was finished. I watched grammar videos made for kids. They used cartoons and songs. Slowly, I understood the difference between "I eat," "I am eating," and "I have eaten." Practice made it stick. I also used apps like Grammarly to check my writing. It showed my mistakes and explained them clearly. I didn't study grammar first. I studied examples. That made everything easier. I told myself, grammar is a tool, not a rule. My grammar got better with time. I just needed patience. Speaking was still the hardest part. I understood English, but speaking fluently was difficult. So I joined a free English-speaking group online. We met on Zoom every Sunday. I was shy at first, but the host encouraged us to speak. Even one line. My first sentence was, "My name is Meera. I want to speak English." I got claps. That gave me courage. I prepared small talks about my day, my family, my dreams. I spoke to my friend in English once a week. I stopped worrying about being perfect. I focused on being clear. With each conversation, I felt more confident. Even when I made mistakes, I didn't stop. The key was to speak. 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 Practice made me better every week. Slowly, English started to feel natural in my mouth. One big help in my journey was AI. I use tools like ChatGPT to practice. I typed questions like, "What is the difference between say and tell?" and got clear answers. I asked AI to correct my sentences. It felt like having a private teacher. I also used voice typing on my phone to practice pronunciation. If Google didn't understand my words, I knew I had to speak more clearly. I even asked AI to quiz me on new vocabulary. It gave me flashcards and exercises. AI didn't judge me. And it was always there, any time of day. I told my friends, "This is like magic." Learning became fun and fast. Technology opened a new world for me. I was using it not just for entertainment but for education. That made a big difference in my journey. My parents didn't understand English, but they saw my progress. One evening, I spoke with a customer in English at my uncle's shop. My uncle looked shocked. "You sound like a news reporter," he said. My mother smiled and said, "I am proud of you." That moment meant everything. I wasn't just learning for me. I was making my family proud. My younger brother also started using some English words. I became a role model. I taught him simple greetings like, "Good morning," and "How are you?" At dinner, I sometimes spoke short sentences in English, and my parents would nod. They didn't always understand, but they encouraged me. This support gave me energy. I realized I was not alone in my journey. My dream was becoming our family's dream. That love helped me keep going. I started keeping an English diary. Every night, I wrote one paragraph about my day. Today I cooked rice. I watched an English video. I learned 5 new words. At first, it was simple. But over time, I started writing longer thoughts. I wrote about my dreams. my fears, and my progress. Sometimes I wrote short stories. I even tried writing a poem. Writing helped me organize my thoughts. I checked grammar with AI tools. Slowly, I became better at forming sentences. My vocabulary grew. I used words like because, however, and although. I read my older entries and felt proud. The diary became my mirror. It showed me how far I had come. I didn't wait for school to check my writing. I corrected myself. And that gave me power. That little notebook became a big part of my success. By the 5th month, something amazing happened. People started asking me, Meera, how did you learn English so fast? I felt surprised and happy. I decided to help others. I made short videos in Hindi, sharing my tips. I said, start with small goals. Practice daily. Speak without fear. I even helped my neighbor's daughter with her school English. She was only 10 and shy. I showed her the YouTube channel. She loved it. Watching her improve made me proud. I wasn't just a learner now. I was a teacher. I held a small English-speaking circle in our village park every Saturday. 5 girls joined. We spoke, read, and help each other. I was changing not just my life, but theirs too. That's when I realized knowledge grows when we share it. I wasn't learning for just me anymore. Near the end of my 5-month goal, I applied for an online internship. It was for a content writing job. The interview was in English. I was nervous. But I remembered everything I had practiced. I greeted the interviewer with a smile and spoke slowly. Good afternoon. I am Meera. I love writing and learning. He asked about my experience. I told him about my diary and how I taught English to others. I made a few grammar mistakes, but I stayed calm. He smiled and said, "Your progress is impressive." That day, I got the job. I was going to write articles in English. I ran to my parents and shouted, "I did it!" They hugged me tightly. I felt proud. Not because I was perfect, but because I had come so far. That interview was proof. My journey had worked. Now, 5 months later, I speak, read, and write in English with confidence. I'm not perfect, but I'm proud. I still learn every day. But English no longer scares me. It's my friend, my tool, and my window to the world. If you are reading or listening to my story, I want to tell you, you can do it too. Don't wait for perfect conditions. Start today. Use free tools. Watch simple videos. Listen. Speak. Read. And write. Learn like a child. With joy. Believe in your dream. Even if no one else does. Remember, I was just a village girl who knew only Hindi. But with dedication, I changed my life. English gave me confidence and new opportunities. I'm Meera. And this is my journey. And I promise, if I can do it, you can too.